Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. Yes, this is the place where you can find the answers to your mental health, relationship, and family questions. I'm your host, Jim Hewitt. Glad you've tuned in today. I think you're going to find today's topic very interesting, so I hope you'll stay tuned because we'll be right back. All right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. Glad that you've joined me again this week. Last week I started a three-part series entitled Parenting from the Heart. Parenting from the Heart. You know, I don't think there's any tougher thing to do on the face of the earth than to parent. I don't have to tell you, there's a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs and navigating troublesome waters and feeling like maybe your child's going to fall off the cliff and worrying about them and fretting about them and teaching them and training them. All of this stuff that goes on. And really, when you think about it, there is no manual that comes with the birth of your child, right? I mean, every child is uniquely different, and that's the way God created us. All of us are uniquely different, and so your child is uniquely different as well. If you live in if you have 3-4 kids, every one of those children have different temperaments. I grew up in a large family, 6 boys and 3 girls, and every one of us have different temperaments. Every one of us have different viewpoints. We're all the same family. We all had the same loving parents, but each one of us have different. We're all different. Even though we're all from the same family, we're all different. And so that's the same way it is with your child. And so parenting is just hard. There's no way to get around it. It's hard. If you're expecting that parenting is going to be easy or get easier, no, it's not. And even when your children grow up and they leave home, they go to college or they get married, start a career, whatever, they're still your children and they're still going to go through difficulties, and you're still going to be their parent. Now, the role, of course, changes, but you're still going to be a parent. Now, what I want to talk about this week is single parenting. Parenting itself is difficult. Single parenting is even more difficult. Whether it's because you become a single parent because of the breakup of a relationship or the death of a spouse, or the other parent never has been involved in your child's life. Whatever the circumstance that got you to have the status of single parent, here you are. And I have dealt over the years with scores of single parents who come in and they're just about to pull their hair out. They feel frustrated. They're angry. They feel guilty. All those kind of things. And so we talk about how to be a single parent. Single parenting is not an impossible task. I want you to hear that. It's not impossible, but you need some extra help, okay? You need some extra support. You need to be looking at things maybe a little bit differently. And it's difficult enough being a parent and having the other parent there. It's even more difficult being a single parent. And so that's what I want to talk about today is raising kids as a single parent to be confident. Remember, we talked last week. I want to mention it again this week. The scripture that says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Train up a child. So you've got 8-year-old Johnny. You're not training an 8-year-old. You're training a 28-year-old. You're training them to be a productive adult as they grow up. you're training them to have responsibility. You're training them on how to interact with their boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse when they get to be older. And so you're not training 8-year-old, you're training a 28-year-old. And so today I want to give you some tips, about 6 tips with you being a single parent. Now, maybe you're watching this and you're not a single parent, but I would wager that you know someone, maybe in your family or a next door neighbor or a fellow church member or a co-worker that is a single parent. I would ask that you let them know about this podcast, this series, so that they can become a better parent. It's like juggling 6 balls at one time and trying to keep all of them in the air. It's just difficult to do. Not impossible, but it's difficult to do. So I want to give you 6 tips today, particularly for those of you now who are single parents, on how to raise, as a single parent, how to raise a confident child. So let's jump right in. Number 1 is to live in gratitude and not in guilt. Live in gratitude and not in guilt. Whether your relationship with the other parent, whether it came about as a divorce or a tragic death, whatever the circumstance is, I want you to not live in guilt. Now, if there's been a divorce, certainly you share in that the demise of that marriage. I get that. Okay, it takes 2 people to make a marriage. It takes 2 people to dissolve a marriage. And so, but here's the thing: you don't need to live in guilt. You don't need to live every single day in guilt, because what happens is that the stress of feeling that guilt gets transferred then to your child. So instead of living in guilt, focus on what you're grateful for. Now, maybe you're a single parent and you've gotten back into dating, or you've met someone and there's this other relationship developing. Understand that your children are very much a part of that. Don't leave them out, and please don't expect that they're going to just love that other person like you do. It doesn't happen that way. And maybe one day in the future I'm going to talk about blended families and how all of that fits together. But no matter how difficult things get, especially when they get difficult, list the things and think about the things that you're grateful for. Scripture teaches that in all things we should be thankful. In all things we should be thankful. So you have a choice, right? As a parent, you have a choice. You can sit around and mope around and feel guilty for the rest of your children's lives, or you can kind of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. Sometimes I have clients in here that they come in and they're it's almost like they're relitigating that divorce that they went through, or relitigating that separation that they went through. That's not what this is about. See, I want you to reject this whole thing of single parent guilt, because that guilt gets transferred to your children. They sense that, and they will either start acting out in some way, or they will use it to their advantage. They'll pick up, particularly when you get into grade school, middle school, high school kids. They pick up on this, and they will use that guilt to kind of get what they want. And so you want to be very, very careful with that. Live in gratitude. At the end of this podcast, just pause and just list on a piece of paper the things that you are grateful for. Whatever that might be, you make the list, but list it out, because there's a powerful thing in listing things out and seeing it on the written page. So live in gratitude, not in this guilt and shame kind of thing, because that gets transferred to your kids, and ultimately they will begin to feel like and think as if it was their fault that you and their other parent separated or divorced or both. Okay. Number 2, I would suggest that you live or that you focus on positive parenting. positive parenting. One of the things that seems to, I guess, to be a misunderstanding about parenting is that if you're all the time negative, that's going to produce positive change. It doesn't happen that way. Negativity from you is going to produce negativity in your child, and so focus on positive parenting. Yeah, would it be better if you were not a single parent? Probably so. Yep, probably so. You would have that other person to share the responsibilities with, to walk with you and help you with the discipline and help you with, you know, all the stuff that goes along with that. But here you are. Here you are. Don't think that just because you're a single parent that everything is negative. Focus on positive parenting. Yeah, I would agree with you that single parenting has its own set of challenges. It does, because instead of let's say that Mary and Johnny, Mary has she's in dance and she's got a practice, and Johnny's in baseball and he's got practice. If you had someone there, you could split and one take one, one take the other. Here you are, you have to try to be different places at different times. And so, yeah, it does have single parenting. You have to be mom and dad both. You have to cook the meals, plan the meals, cook the meals. You have to organize all the activities. All of that's on you, okay? But focus on positive parenting, because here again, if you focus on negative, your children will pick that up, and that will come across in your parenting skills and in the parenting techniques that you have. And so yeah, it comes with a whole new set of challenges. But listen to me close now. The healthier the environment you provide for your children, the better it's going to be for you as a parent. Now, I know some of you might be just sitting there saying, well, yeah, but I just get drained. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I just get drained with all the stuff that's going on. I've got a discipline here, and I've got to make sure that the kids are doing their homework here, and I've got to do this, and I get that. But here you are. What are you going to do? Here you are, and so focus on the positive things. Think about providing that healthy environment for your children. Let's assume for just a moment that you never remarry, that you never have, you just don't get into any other relationship, and you will be a single parent for the rest of your children's life. Okay, now what are you going to do? See that? What are you going to do? Think of it in those terms. I can either gripe and complain and bellyache and boohoo and bawl, or I can provide a positive atmosphere to where, even though I'm a single parent, my children grow up in a loving, caring, compassionate, safe home. So you need to begin to look outside yourself. Is the situation awful? Well, probably. Is it unfair? Probably. But here you are. Okay. For instance, what do you do when you have to work and the school calls you that your child is sick? What are you going to do then? Well, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So all of those things, focus on positive parenting. Don't take out on your children what happened between you and their other parent. I see that an awful lot. That parents will transfer to their children all the anger and resentment and hurt because of the breakup of whatever happened, or because tragically the other parent died. They transfer all of that stuff on their kids, and the children are not able to handle that. They don't know what to do with that. And so focus on positive parenting. Number 3, the way you care for yourself will influence the way you care for your kids. I want to say that again because it's so important. The way that you care for yourself will influence the way you care for your children. I don't know how many, I can't tell you how many parents, single parents, will come in and they'll say, well, my kids are priority. My kids are number one. Okay, I get that. I understand that. It sounds really good. But you only have so much emotional and relational energy, right? If you just think of it as a pitcher, and you're pouring that pitcher of water into a glass, eventually if you keep pouring that water out, the pitcher's going to get empty. While the glass is full, the pitcher will be empty. And so I see a lot of parents who come in and they're just empty because they haven't really taken care of themselves. Having the children first, that it sounds noble, but you have to be able to take care of yourself for the long haul. You're in this for the long haul. The quality of parenting increases in proportion to the quality of physical and mental health on your part. If you're living in the past, it's going to affect and will influence how you parent your child or children currently. If you're focused on, well, I wish that wouldn't have happened, and okay, I get that, but how is that influencing your children? You need time for you. Now, I know that sounds cliche, I know that sounds trite, but you do need time for you, and there's nothing selfish about that. Maybe it's an evening with, just a going out for an evening with friends. Find somebody who you trust impeccably to babysit your kids, whether that's a family member or a friend. Find somebody you trust, get them to the babysitter, and go out and enjoy the evening, and don't feel guilty about going out and being with friends. Taking care of yourself. Maybe for a weekend, if you're fortunate enough to live around grandparents or around other family members, great. Utilize them. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if you don't wait for just Christmas shopping to go off and be by yourself and to do the shopping thing. That's a whole different deal. You need time to recharge your batteries. You're in this for the long haul. Think about your vehicle for just a moment. If you sit there in your vehicle and you just keep turning the key and turning the key and turning the key, and the car doesn't start and it doesn't start. If you continue to do that, it's going to wear the battery down. The same thing with you. You have to recharge, because parenting kids takes a lot of energy. I don't have to tell you. You know that it takes a lot of energy to parent and to be a good parent, but even more when you're a single parent. And so find ways to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your kids, because the way you take care of yourself will influence how you take care of your kids. If you're continually run down and you're continually angry because you don't get any time for yourself, or you're continually frustrated, that's going to eventually spill over to your children, but it's also going to spill over into your parenting as well. And so the kids will, they'll talk to each other. Believe me, they'll talk to each other, and they'll complain about how awful mom is, and how gripey and moody and crabby mom is. Or dad's the same way. Dad's crabby, and dad doesn't want to do anything with us. Dad doesn't. All dad wants to do is sit and watch TV, or all mom wants to do is just read a book. See that? You have to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of your kids. So find ways to do that. Start today. Find ways to do that. Maybe it's one or two. Maybe it's twice a month that you find somebody to watch the kids, and you go out and you be with your friends and enjoy the evening, come back, and then you're charged up. Because if you're around your children all the time and you don't have adult contact, that's going to affect you. Okay, so find ways to take care of yourself. Number 4, utilize a support system. I've been talking about this really all the way through, but utilize a support system. You can't do a single parent thing on your own. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and you find somebody to come live with you, or you just jump at the first chance that somebody proposes. I'm not suggesting that. But you can have a support system, and you need a support system. a trusted friend, a trusted group. Maybe it's the church in your community that can speak to those needs. Again, getting into a Bible study, those outlets. Maybe you need to start a single parent group in your community, in your neighborhood. Nothing wrong with that. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. If you have that need, chances are there's several other people, maybe in the place where you work, or your neighborhood, or maybe even in your church, that just need that support, that can be there, that can be that confidant, that you can just vent all of your frustrations on them, and you can trust them with that, and they will assist you with that. Maybe it's family members. Maybe it's an aunt or an uncle, maybe a grandma and grandpa if you're fortunate. Maybe it's someone maybe not connected to the family by blood, but who is that aunt or uncle or brother or sister. See that? So you need a support system. It's vital that you have that. I just can't. I'm having trouble finding words to emphasize how important that is. You can't do this on your own. Your battery will dry up. You'll be just going. You'll be like a robot. You just wind me up and set me in motion, and I'll do the thing. And you'll become resentful. Watch this now. You'll become more resentful of your children if you don't do this. Trust me, you will. You will say, "No, I would never resent my kid." Think about it. Think about it. So you find a support system, again, whether it's your local church, whether it's other single parents. Don't wait for somebody to start something. If you have that need, if you feel that need to have the support, chances are there are other people like yourself in your community that you probably know, and they're just waiting for somebody to just start that single parent support group. And so I would encourage you to utilize the support system. Number 5, have what's often referred to as mindful communication. Have mindful communication with your child. Now, what that means is that once, think about it, once that communication shuts down between me and my child, then that exposes my child to other things. I need to be involved. You just need to be up in their business. You just need to be up in their business, and part of that, a large part of that, is this constant communication with them. Now, I want to say something here, just a little aside, since I'm talking about communication. The worst thing you can do, listen to me, the worst thing you can do for your child is to utilize them as an information conduit to find out what the other parent is doing. I want you to hear that. The worst thing you can do, and I see this so very much, that you utilize, well, what's dad doing? Who is dad seeing somebody? Is mom seeing somebody? What's going on over there? No, that's the worst thing you can do, because it disrupts everything. So the kids are caught in the middle, and they don't really want to go to dads, or they don't really want to go to moms, because they know that when they come back home that they're going to be pumped for information, and they don't want that. They don't need that pressure. They don't know how to deal with that. And so be mindful of your communication with them. Always remain open. Always remain available. Talk to them on their level. Be careful not to ask yes or no questions, because the kid, that's all. So how you doing today, Johnny? Fine. Okay, now I've answered your question. No. Is there anything bothering you today? You seem kind of withdrawn. You've been in your room the biggest part of the day. What's going on? So have mindful communication with your child, because when they get up to school age, remember, they're spending more time, waking time at school than they are at home. And so you need to keep those lines of communication open, understanding that you don't use them as information conduits toward the absent parent. Finally, number 6, and I've saved this one to last for a particular purpose, and that is respect the power of routine. Respect the power of routine. Nothing is more important to children than predictability. Even being a single parent, predictability. Okay, so let's say, just for an example, that the other parent, your children live with you. If you've gone through court, the court has determined that the children live with you, and they visit the other parent every other weekend, that kind of thing. Okay, so when they come back home, what's that routine? So they need to know that on Friday, I know that on Friday evening I'm going to Dad's or I'm going to Mom's, and I'm going to be there for the weekend, or I'm going to be there for the week. And so when they come back home, then there's a certain routine. You and the other parent need to kind of coordinate. This is not about controlling what the other one does in their home, but you need to be sure that as much as possible that there's the same routine, that there's similar waking up times, there's similar going to bed times, there's homework things during the course of the school year, there's baseball games, soccer games, all of those things are routine, because routine for children means that things are predictable. Things are predictable, and they thrive on predictability. Nothing will cause problems with children more as a single parent than for things to just be kind of up in the air, and I don't know what we're doing. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know when we're doing what, and the children are left there because, remember, they're kids. They don't have your experience. They don't have your life experiences, and so maintain a reasonable, sustainable schedule. Now I know, things happen, life kind of gets in the way sometimes, but as much as possible, create a calendar. Nothing wrong with that. Create a calendar, put it up on the refrigerator or put it in some prominent place in your house, and so that the kids can look at that and they know that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're doing thus and so. It also allows you some free time. Okay, if the kids are doing this, then I can do this. If the kids are working on homework, I can fix supper. If the kids are away at the other parent or at grandma and grandpa's, then that gives me time to do X, Y, or Z. Be sure to leave some wiggle room in that schedule. Don't make it tight to where it's so rigid that, no, children just simply need predictability. And you're the one, as the parent, you're the one responsible for setting the tone, even as a single parent, setting the tone for that predictability. So that you can begin on Wednesday, if they go to the other parents, let's say on Friday. You can begin on Wednesday, okay, Johnny, okay, Susie, on Friday now, remember, you're going to Dad's, and once they get into that routine, then they're going to be fine with it. It's when things disrupt, and when things are just kind of up in the air and unpredictable is when you'll start having problems with your children. So respect the power of routine. Now, let me just kind of sum up something. I talked about a lot of stuff today. Time with kids is more about quality than quantity. Time with kids is more about quality than it is about quantity. So, let's say that I have, the kids are coming to visit me. I'm a single parent, and they're coming back from the other parent. Okay, now what are we going to do for 4 hours? Nothing? Okay, well, for 4 hours we're going to do this. For 4 hours we're going to do this. For 6 hours we're going to... No, it's not about the amount of time. It's about the quality of time that you spend with them. Quality time can be 10 minutes. If it's good quality time, one-on-one, undivided attention between you and your children. That's quality time. Quality time is not about spending a lot of money. It's not. You can, here we are, we're in the middle of summer. If you don't believe that, step outside. You'll see that we're right in the middle of summer. And it's not about spending a lot of money, going to all these big places. It could be something as simple as going to a park, or if you live fortunate like we are, we live near a state park, going to the state park and just spending a few hours there, packing a lunch, and just going and being with your children. It doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of money and do exorbitant things that's well, fine and good, but is it quality time, or are we just doing stuff? So listen, you can relieve yourself of trying to do a lot of quantity stuff by replacing that with quality. So if you only have your children for 4 hours, do something solid in those 4 hours. Don't be just ravaged with guilt. Allow yourself to be, does it stink sometimes being a single parent? Absolutely does. It absolutely does. Do I get frustrated sometimes being a single parent? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I feel like my world is coming apart sometimes being a single parent? Absolutely. Those are things that people say to me. And so you might be somebody that feels that way right now, right today, right as you're listening to this. I want you to know that there's help available for you. There is that support team. And perhaps part of that support is seeing a therapist. That you can go, and in the confines of the office and in the confidentiality of the relationship, you can just unburden yourself and talk through and have a professional guide you through those troublesome waters. You don't have to do it alone. There is help available for you. So I want you to understand now all the things that I have listed here, all 6 tips, they come from the heart. So this is really about, at the base of it, the core of it, is actually whether you're a single parent or not, whether your spouse is still living or there's been a tragic death, it is really, really, really about parenting from the heart. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. If something I have said today has spurred some questions or concerns, there's 3 ways that you can contact me. You can contact me by phone. My number is 573-732-4575. Again, that's 573-732-4575. Or you can email me. My email address is lifelineonline@hotmail.com. lifelineonline@hotmail.com. The 3rd way is if you're watching this by Facebook, you can private message me, give me your contact information, or you can even ask a question. I will get back to you just as soon as I possibly can. The key is you don't have to do single parenting alone. There's help. I want to help you. I want to talk about all this stuff with you individually right here in my office. Give me a call, contact me, email me, private message me. I want to talk to you about parenting from the heart. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you right here next week on Lifeline for Daily Living.